Northeast India. From the Terap to the Terai, from Brahmaputra to Himalaya. Oh, there is mystery of this place, colorful history of all its rays.
Oh, come and see this land and feel its emotions. There's love in every heart. It's a paradise on earth, yeah. Northeast India.
No one can sing, no one can say the joy your presence bring. The joy you bring to us through day will never fade away. Sweet welcome to you. Our hearts is bright and gay. The joy you bring to us through day will never fade away.
Huna he bandhui poran jurai jua kuni jua mare kotha haturangi hopunore de bharata purba saljana.
The Sabpu heights and Jangpur sights, Northeast India. The Nokrek Peak and Loktak Lake, Northeast India. Sora rains and Simsang reels, the Manas, the Bhutan hills, oh, the Mosme caves and Rumyong.
I'm Father Michael Fernandes, and I represent CCMSI on the General Council. And for the last 3 years, I've been working for CCMSI, guiding the friars, animating the friars, either in the chapters or my canonical visitations or pastoral visitations that I conduct in the CCMSI. My experience has been this way, that CCMSI has grown over the period of years, and we see the past that it's about 100 years now that the Capuchin presence is there, and we see enormous growth, whether it's in number or quality of life or the very charism of the Capuchins that is being diffused or spreading all over India. Besides 14 provinces that we have, which are growing day by day in quality, also in quantity, but much more my experience in Northeast, which is now a growing kind of jurisdictions, and there are 4 delegations, and all these delegations are working really among the poor ones. As you know, the history of this Northeast is there are 7 states, and all these 7 states are not developed economically and even socially, but culturally they are very rich, and they have a lot to offer to the rest of India. And culturally they are strong because they have a different culture than the culture of Indians, and these people have something very unique to offer to the world even. And the background or the history of this 7 states is that the British Baptist worked there, and most of these 6 states were converted to Christianity. And the entry of the Catholic Church was very late, I think early 90s or so. And but then since then the Catholic Church has worked a lot for these 6 states where the presence of the Christians is a majority.
And elephant hearts, Northeast India. The oil wells and tea plants, Northeast India. Tree-hunched hills of Tripura, snowy Arunachal, lovely Mizoram, the many-colored shore of Nagaland, the wild deep woods of Manipur. Oh, come and see this land and feel its emotions. There's love in every heart. It's a paradise on earth, yeah. Northeast India.
The Capuchins went, I think, about 25 years ago, especially in Assam and Mizoram, where the friars have worked really. And the challenges that the friars faced earlier, about 25 years ago, those challenges are still existing, because the people who live on the mountains or in the valleys or distant villages are not able to come to maybe to the church or to the schools. So most of these places where our Capuchins are working, the challenge is to have a boarding school where most of the children, either for girls or for boys, they keep them in the boarding and then they run the schools. But the growth as far as education is concerned has been fantastic and marvelous. The people now have understood that without education there cannot be any kind of progress or development.
Northeast India.
For the Capuchins, as far as Capuchins' presence is concerned in Northeast, the challenges are this, that we need to prepare men who are solid in their vocation, solid in spirituality, because the culture that we have in North or South India is not the same culture here in Northeast. And when the friars go there, the friars will have to really insert themselves into this culture. And the first challenge is, to learn their culture, to learn their languages, because each tribe has its own language. So one village will have one particular language, and you go to the next village, which may not be very far away, 5 or 10 kilometers, but the languages are different. And you will have to, learn those languages, and they are totally different from each other. This is one of the biggest challenge. The next challenge is education. As I said, you don't have schools in every villages. You have to have a school in a central place. The school, definitely, but with school, you have to have also the boarding for the children, for the girls as well as for the boys. And when we educate this particular generation, I'm hopeful, and I'm confident that the generations to come afterwards will definitely contribute a lot for the growth of these states. The third challenge is medication, because you go to the villages and you don't have any medical facilities. If you have a serious sickness, then you don't find anyone there. There are sisters who give first aid or little medication, which is ordinary.
I believe in God,
the
the Father
Father
Almighty,
Almighty,
creator
creator
of
of
heaven
heaven
and
and
earth.
earth.
I
I
believe
believe
in
Jesus Christ,
His
His only Son, our
Lord,
Lord, who was conceived by the power.
Northeast India.
There's a beautiful place in the world, Northeast India. There is mist and magic in the air, Northeast India. From the Tehran to the Tehran.
Taking into account the reality of Northeast, what I feel the Capuchins can offer, the very special charism that we have, that being with poor, being with them, making them to feel that there is somebody for us. And they know that the Capuchins can come to our villages, that the Capuchins will come and teach us the faith, or give us something about the gospel, something about Jesus, and something about the Catholic Church. That these people are very, very sure. And I have gone and seen for myself, and brother Hugo, who was there with us as a mission secretary, the friars live among the people. They live with them. They experience the same hardships as the people experience in their life. What we saw there, the challenges of the friars is most of these states have a very severe winter. And the winter, it can go down up to 1 degree Celsius or 2 degrees or 3, and they don't have heating systems. They don't have warm water. You have to depend on the firewood, and you make some from warm water, and then you have. But in the night or during the day, you don't have any heating system, and you really feel the cold, and our Indian cold gets into your bones, into your body, and then how severe it is. This is something very, very, because people don't have, so our friars don't have. Okay, and that is something very, very very nice. And I told the friars, don't ever modernize yourself. Get in touch with the people's reality, and you will see how people will respond to you. Second is the food. The food that is that's very, very simple. The people eat simple food, simple lifestyle. Their houses are bamboo houses. They're not solid cement houses or something like that. And our friars also have houses which are very simple. But there is a tendency among the friars to build big houses or something like that, which I'm sure the provincials and the delegates who are responsible will take a note of.
There is mystery of this place, colorful history of all its rays.
Oh, come and see this land and feel its emotions. There's love in every heart. It's a paradise on earth, yeah. Northeast India.
The biggest challenge that I see for Indian provinces is this, that we have numbers, we have men who are of quality and caliber, and men who are of spirit and spirituality. What is important is to live a fraternal life, which is something that I think it's lacking a little bit. Not that it's not there. It is there, but it's not given importance. So in the formation house, the formators have to insist and emphasize that our call to Capuchin life is a call to live a fraternal living, and which will be a big boost, because people in India are looking for a common life, a life of communion. And I'm sure that the Capuchins can give this example to the people of India. The second thing that I see a big challenge in India is this, that we need to have common formation houses, because the rest of the world is now looking at India, because India has got the number. And if we don't prepare these men, to face the realities outside India, like in Europe or in America or in Latin America, if there is a common study house where we have a common study program which can prepare these young men to go out of India, where can be missionaries or spreading the Capuchin charism. The third point that I would like to emphasize is that India is emerging. India is economically becoming strong. But at the same time, there are a lot of challenges for Indian Capuchins, because the Indian Capuchins have received in the past from the order. And today it's a time for Indian friars to give and to be self-sufficient, and I'm sure all of them can be self-sufficient if they really live the Capuchin charism that we we have received and will live it. On the whole, I'm very positive of Indian provinces. The provinces can collaborate with each other, and the time has come, and the time is that interprovincial collaboration, that provincialism has to go down and come together and work together as Indian Capuchins. As we started off, there was only one united province, and later on we got divided, and to a certain extent, okay, it has helped us to expand, but at the same time there are negative sides also, and in future we might come together. We don't know, but I'm praying and hoping that the Indian provinces will definitely come together.
There's a beautiful place in the world, Northeast India. There is mist and magic in the air, Northeast India. From the terror